The Necromancer of Pricene contains adult content and may not be suitable for children. Parental guidance is suggested. In the world of Turinlay rests an enormous island called Pricene. The nation of Pricene is governed by a king and council, though the real power rests in the hands of 10 cursed immortals, powerful supernatural figures who serve only their self-interests. The land is plagued with black-blooded monsters, corrupt political leaders, and bloodthirsty bandits. And the one man who is willing to stand up to them all just so happens to be an unholy abomination, a summoner of the undead, the Necromancer of Pricene.
Welcome back, my fellow scoundrels, outcasts, and miscreants. Allow me to summarize what's happened thus far. I returned to the town of Willow's Bend after leaving Frank safely behind in a nearby field. The Festival of the Fated Four was in full swing by the time I arrived. The heroes were being celebrated for the victory of the highway bandits and their murderous demon, which you and I both know is complete bullshit, but what are you gonna do? Finch sought me out and we discussed the Watcher who had come to town, one of the cursed, a man named Wrath. She also, not so subtly, implied that she didn't trust me and would be keeping her eye on me. Fantastic. Mike, the owner of the Rusted Saw, gave a speech in honor of the Fated Four, and then the townsfolk and the Advents got nice and intoxicated. Just as the celebration was really kicking off, 3 more of the monstrous bears attacked the town. The scene was gory and terrifying, and the Advents did little to help. While I would like to tell you that my necromancy was unleashed into its full glory and I saved the day, it was actually Wrath who stepped up. He made quick work of one of the creatures and things were beginning to look up. That is, until he threw his sword, which lodged itself safely through my back. My name is Charts. I have the ability to reanimate the dead, and I'm on a quest to kill the most powerful man in Pricene. If I'm still alive, that is. Chapter 6. The Word of Wrath. Serenity. I lay in a small grove just outside Eccoden, enjoying the melodic chorus of birds and the warmth of the autumn sun on my face. The wildflowers had retreated into hiding, leaving the trees to take center stage in their vibrant display of fiery hues. My head rested on the book that I'd brought along to read, some fictitious tale of knights and dragons, I'm sure. I remember this day. How could I forget? It's haunted my thoughts every day for the past 2 years. The scent of approaching rain filled my nostrils, its earthy promise both calming and urgent. Rainstorms rarely lingered this high in the mountains, but I was not dressed for wet weather. Reluctantly, I stood, brushing the grass from my tunic, collected my book, and began the short walk home. The world shifted in that unsettling way only dreams can manage. The vibrant leaves shriveled, turning to ash. Smoke billowed skyward, blotting out the sun and choking the birds into silence. My chest grew heaving with dread, and I found myself running toward Eccoden, propelled not by fear, but by a grim, unshakable urgency. No monsters chased me through the forest, although Dreams of that nature have haunted many of my nights. No, this time I was the pursuer, chasing what I already knew would be found. Everything shifted again as dreams do. The forest blurred and I was suddenly at the edge of Ecodin. The ramshackle wooden gate, meant to keep out wandering goats and deer, hung open. Smoke poured out from behind the walls, curling into the sky like a malevolent specter searching for escape. The sun had abandoned us in favor of a looming darkness that seemed to stretch beyond the heavens. Frank appeared in the gateway, grinning his best smile, which he referred to as the ancient charmer. His arms extended toward me, each hand offering a choice: a perfectly cut tiger's eye gem in his left hand, a seed from the tree of life in the right. The choice was presented: a gem merchant like my father, or a necromancer. But hadn't I already chosen? Or, moreover, hadn't the choice already been made for me? Frank's eyes locked onto mine, pleading for a decision and yet sorrowful that such a choice must be made. I hesitated. This wasn't how it happened. Frank didn't greet me at the gate, nor had he offered me the gem or seed. I shook my head, refusing both the illusion and the decision. The choice had been made for me long ago, and I bore no blame for what came after. Frank's smile faded into a grimace as he dissolved into the netherscape of the dream world. Another figure emerged in its place, taller, broader, menacing. They broke through the veil of smoke, wielding a long black pike tipped with a cruel, leaf-shaped spearhead and two jagged hooks along the shaft, one near the head and one closer to the weapon's center. His eyes burned like smoldering coals, and his teeth gleamed with a predator's hunger as he leveled the weapon toward my chest. Icy terror climbed each vertebra of my spine, paralyzing my body and silencing the scream trapped behind my lips. The man was a nightmare incarnate. His grin mocked me, a grotesque mirror of Frank's ancient charmer. This wasn't real. Ecodin never burned, and I never faced this nightmare. I pushed through the fear and straightened my back, standing resolute and challenging the demon before me. I would not be intimidated. I was unafraid. And that is when Torch's pike pierced my chest. The sharp, medicinal smell of iodine, mingled with the soft, herbal sweetness of lavender, pulled me from the depths of unconsciousness. My hands explored my surroundings, and I found myself tucked into the most comfortable mattress I had ever lain in. The ticking of a clock's pendulum hammered rhythmically, the only sound in an otherwise oppressive silence. No bird songs heralded the day, no insect chirps claimed the night, only the mechanical heartbeat of the timepiece. As the haze of sleep lifted, panic took its place. Where was I? What happened to the monsters? To the town? To Frank? And where were my clothes? I became acutely aware of my nakedness, save for the bandages tightly wrapped around my chest. The fabric itched against my skin, adding to the disorientation of not knowing what the fuck was going on. I pulled my elbows back to lift myself on the bed, but the movement sent a searing pain through my shoulder and back. I yelped an agonizing cry and collapsed back onto the mattress. Torch had stabbed me with his pike. Only, no, that wasn't right. I was stabbed through the back by Wrath, not the figure from my nightmare. Two different watchers. Two different nightmares. I clenched my eyes, willing myself to breathe through the pain. Clarity grudgingly resurfaced. I used my left hand to wipe away the newly formed tears. The singular source of noise was the first item to grab my attention. A grand clock towered against the wall, its wooden frame beautifully crafted. It reminded me of a piece Frank's father had back in Ecodin. Homesickness bloomed in my chest, a painful, emotional ache that rivaled my physical wound. I forced my eyes to continue their inspection. A cart near the foot of the bed held tools, many of which I had only ever seen from artist renderings in medical books. Behind the cart, pressed against the far wall, was a beautifully crafted bookshelf, packed with tomes, both horizontal and vertical. Dozens of books were stacked on top of the case, and more still on the floor in front of it. Bizarre art decorated the walls, and clothing littered the floor. A desk sat beneath a window, neat and orderly, contrasting the chaos around it. My gaze fell on the pile of clothes, my tunic cut into strips, my blood staining the fabric. My hand instinctively moved to my chest, tracing the bandages. The pain burned like a slim fire poker sliding through my torso and exiting my back. I gritted my teeth and looked out the window. Beyond the glass, the tops of limbering pines and quaking aspens swayed to a light breeze. I was on the outskirts of Willow's Bend, or perhaps out of the city entirely. I forced myself upright, curiosity outweighing caution. A book sat prominently on the desk, a journal perhaps, its leather cover hinting at secrets within. I was just beginning to reach for it when the door creaked open. Wrath entered.
Ah, you're awake. That's wonderful. But I suggest you lay back down. Any undue stress could reopen your wounds. I did a fine job stitching you up, but you've lost quite a bit of blood, and I don't recommend losing any more if you can help it.
Where am I?
You're in my home. I brought you here after the attack at the festival.
Are we still in Willow's Bend?
Yes. I have property in the northwest corner of the town. I enjoy the tranquility of the place. Don't you?
I should go. I have to...
You have to what? You're in no shape to travel.
My things are at the inn. The rusted saw.
The rusted saw burned to the ground during the attack, and with it your belongings. The items you had on you when I brought you here have been kindly stowed in a small box at the foot of your bed. Nothing is missing, if that's a concern.
All of my things.
They are only possessions. You can find more. The important thing is that you're alive. Now, I have some medicine for you. It will help you sleep while your body recovers from the wounds.
What is it?
Why? Are you a doctor or nurse familiar with the ways of healing?
No, but I do like to know what I'm about to put into my body.
Well, that's reasonable. The tincture is a mix of rowan leaf, agave, muddled blackberries, and water. Are you satisfied?
I guess.
Good. Now, open up and drink it. You have a long road to recovery.
I drank the tincture and slept.
The Necromancer of Pricene will return after these messages. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying what you're hearing but would prefer to continue listening without ads, we have an option for that. All of our Patreon subscribers get ad-free listening to every show in the Creative Typo Network. If you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting the show and the cast, we invite you to check out our website at www.creativetypo.com, and the link to our Patreon is right there on the front page. All right, back to the show.
I woke from a dreamless slumber, the weight of the drug-induced unconsciousness still pressing on me like a 100-pound blanket. My body felt sluggish, the ache in my right shoulder surfacing like an unwelcome reminder of reality. I blinked against the haze, purposefully reaching up with my left hand to rub the sleep from my eyes. Once again, the window drew my gaze, a faint rectangle of impenetrable blackness. Night had claimed the world outside, and the towering pines nearby formed an unbroken wall that barred any light from the moon and stars. Wrath sat at his desk, scribbling something into his journal, his form illuminated by an assortment of candles and lanterns. The door to the bedroom was now open, but the space beyond was shrouded in darkness. This room was the only area Wrath cared to lighten. I turned my attention to the Watcher, taking in his features to the best of my ability, given the limited view of my current angle. His hair was a tangle of black curls cut short. He had changed out his red button-up for a pink one, and his charcoal vest was neatly folded over the back of his chair. The sound of his pen scratching against paper echoed in the quiet room, punctuated by the occasional sip he took from a whiskey glass. It wasn't until that moment I realized how parched I felt. My mouth was dry and burning, my lips cracked and swollen. I felt like a used polish cloth left out in the sun, stiff and crusty. Almost as if he could sense my thoughts, Wrath's voice broke the silence.
You must be thirsty. Would you care for a glass of water?
Yes, please.
Of course. How does your shoulder feel?
Okay, I think. I'm afraid to move it too much.
Well, that's okay. For now. Tomorrow we'll begin working on some light stretches to ensure future mobility.
How long have I been here?
Well, 5 days so far. Here, drink this. It's water.
Thanks.
The first day was the worst by way of your wound. After getting you stitched back together, the fever set in.
I had a fever? Was it an infection?
Of sorts. The fever was extreme enough that I felt it appropriate to keep you in a drug-induced slumber. I attempted to keep you hydrated throughout that time, but you're a difficult patient, if I'm being honest.
Sorry.
Well, think nothing of it. In any case, your fever finally broke late this afternoon. You were medicated one final time just before dusk, and then I monitored you to see if your fever would return. Luckily, it did not. I rebandaged your chest about 2 hours ago, assuming you would have woken then, but you must have been exhausted because you barely fidgeted while I worked.
Thank you for healing me.
Well, I'm happy to be of assistance. Well, it only seemed right, considering I'm slightly to blame for your wound.
You threw your sword at me.
Well, not at you, specifically. You happened to place yourself between me and my target at an unfortunate moment. The sword pierced your right shoulder blade down to the hilt. The singed blade exited through your chest and struck the creature that was holding you.
Did you kill it?
Yes. I nearly killed you as well.
Did the thing bite me?
No. Your only wound of note is from my blade.
Then I don't understand. With the way the wound looks, the sword would have missed anything vital. Why did I get so sick? Why was my fever so bad? Wait. Is your blade poisoned?
I thought you said you weren't a doctor. You seem well educated in the human anatomy for someone unassociated with the profession.
I'm not a doctor. I just like to read a lot.
About human anatomy?
Among other topics.
Interesting.
You're sidestepping my question. How did I almost die?
Charts. Do you know who I am?
You're a watcher, one of the cursed, named Wrath.
Wrath is my station. My name is Benjamin Wright, and I am indeed one of the cursed. Are you feeling well enough to continue with this conversation?
I feel fine. Well, despite the shoulder, but I'm not tired, if that's what you mean.
Okay. Why don't you tell me what you have heard about the cursed? We can start there, and I'll fill in the gaps.
I've heard different stories, many conflicting, but most agree that the cursed are one of the 3 branches of leadership in the Watchers. They partner with the political and administrative branches to run the guild. People say that the cursed do not participate in standard mercenary work. Some people say they act as assassins for king and council. But others say they've been elevated above mercenary work, and instead the cursed pursue their own agendas. How am I doing so far?
I have no notes. Please continue.
All right. There are 10 cursed in all. Some say the cursed can't die of old age. They will live forever as long as no one kills them. Others think it's a persona handed down from one watcher to another when the current cursed is ready to retire.
Both statements are nearly true, while at the same time comically false. We do not live forever, but the aging process of a cursed is significantly decelerated because of their bond to their woe shard. With that said, I do not know of any curse that has died of old age. They are either slain in battle, or their cursed weapon takes them.
It takes them? What does that mean? And what are woe shards?
Each of the cursed watchers holds a cursed weapon. We call them woe shards. Mine is named the Singed Blade. It holds vast amounts of energy that I can access at will, but no power is truly given freely.
Seems unnecessarily cryptic.
Each time I access the power of the Singed Blade, it drains a little more life from me. It is something we cursed prefer not to discuss. As for your second point, our stations are not handed down from one watcher to another. Instead, if one of the cursed falls, the other watchers will be given the opportunity to take their place. However, the decision does not belong to the cursed. It belongs to the woe shard. A watcher will attempt to wield the cursed weapon in question. If they are rejected, the watcher is eliminated.
You mean they're killed? Do the cursed kill them, or does the weapon?
The weapon. They are given 1 day to bond the woe shard. If the bond is accepted, they become the next cursed. If the bond is denied, they are destroyed.
Why would anyone take that risk?
Why wouldn't they? Most people believe that they are special in one way or another. They are young and untouchable. With their peers, they romanticize their future, dreaming fantastical stories about what their life will be like once they've tamed the weapon. It isn't until they are standing before the woe shard that their fear takes hold, and by then, it is too late. Pride wins over logic, and they take the weapon, giving their lives over to fate.
How many of them die?
Frost Reaver is the cursed battle axe that belongs to the Watcher Dread. It is the most recent of the 10 to be claimed. Over the span of 6 years, 137 Watchers attempted to wield the axe before Frost Reaver finally selected the next Dread.
137 Watchers died.
Yes. Many of them perished within minutes of touching the axe. The very nature of the weapon is a curse, draining the life away from any it deems unworthy. Once a woe shard has bonded its watcher, it will reject any others that attempt to touch its metal. Additionally, the chosen wielders are in turn cursed, their soul slowly being drained in exchange for power.
Who did Frost Reaver choose as the next Dread? What made them so different?
Well, I'm sorry, but that is not my story to tell. What more do you know of the cursed weapons?
Not much. Just that no two are the same. You're the only person that carries a sword.
It's a falchion, but yes, you are correct. No two are the same, though many have similar attributes. For instance, all cursed can sense their weapons regardless of distance. If I were to leave the Singed Blade on a ship and let it sail across the languid sea, I would inherently know which direction I'd need to travel in order to find it.
That's handy, in case anyone ever stole it.
No sane person would ever attempt to steal one of the woe shards, but I guess you're correct. It would be handy. Another attribute they all share is that no mortal human besides another cursed can survive a blow from one of the weapons.
What do you mean? Your blade ran me through and I survived.
Yes, you did. And you shouldn't have. You should have died immediately. Do you remember when you asked if I'd poisoned the singed blade? The answer is no, I did not. There is no need for me to add poison. It is deadly on its own accord. But, for some reason, it did not kill you. I'm not certain if that's because the singed blade didn't want to kill you, or if you're somehow resistant to it. But I intend to find out. Now, the time for conversation is over. You need your rest, and I should return to my studies.
But I have more questions.
And you will have plenty of time to ask them, but not tonight. Tonight you rest. Tomorrow, the real work begins.
Charts is voiced by Josh Allen. Benjamin Wright, a.k.a. Wrath, is voiced by Ray O'Hare. Audio engineering by Adam Culbertson and Richard Collins. Editing by Tisha Zang. Music provided in part by Elizabeth Blakely. And written by Nico Rodriguez. The Necromancer of Pricene is a Creative Typo Entertainment production. For more information about this show, our cast, or other shows under Creative Typo, please check out our website at www.creativetypo.com. And thank you for listening. A very special thank you to our executive producers from Patreon, Nick Mead and Patrick T. Arseneault.